Every day we discuss lots of things, what's happening in the world, life, technology, business, everything. This was also a recurring thing. Because how can you ignore climate change or the environment, right? It was a recurring thing. And as we succeeded in whatever we were doing, business side of it, it was very natural for these conversations to also translate to actions. I'm from Kerala. So that for sure has a very deep impact on me. We'd spend summer vacations at my grandmother's place. We'd plant trees. We'd play in the paddy field. I'd grow a vegetable garden like every summer. So my mind is still deeply rooted there. When I literally close my eyes and I try to ground myself, if I try to visualize myself, it's that setting, the village from where my grandmother is, that comes to mind.
My mom used to do landscaping. When I was in 17, 18, 3-4 years, I used to drive down to Wipro every morning and they had this flower arrangements. I don't know if this climate change, etc. came from there, but I guess the love for nature was always there.
It always begins with observation, right? Elephants by the Lake is situated in the Eastern Ghats. So it's in the South Deccan Plateau, and what vegetation we see here is the dry deciduous forest. We own maybe 20 hectares here, but the contiguous forest around is 22,800 hectares. You're always trying to find out how is this interacting with that. The Eastern Ghats is about 1 to 2 billion years old. This has seen almost all of it. This was there before the Western Ghats was formed. This has seen probably dinosaurs go out, bacteria forming. All of these forests, it evolved here. So when you count all of that memory, there's a lot of knowledge that everything genetically holds.
One of the ideas back then was also to see if you can take a piece of land, convert it to forest, and then get people to own a part of it.
Regrow a forest on a designated piece of land. See if people accept like a skin in the game thing. You invest in that forest, not to have money in return, but to have a healthier society.
My name is Varun Balakrishnan. I'm the project manager at Elephants by the Lake. Elephants by the Lake was one of the first initiatives by Zerodha to address the climate issue and the environmental crisis that we are in. What we do at EBTL is to work on the land we own here. We began working on the restoration with the flora in mind. So we went around, collected data on what kind of forest do we have here. We set up a nursery which has native, endemic and endangered trees from the region. And then we worked on understanding the history of the place. How did the land become so degraded? What can we do to even attempt to restore it back? These are things that we worked on initially. I remember coming here in 2021. It was the summer of 2021. It was dry. When I came here, the forests were beautiful, it's across, but you also see that there's a clear demarcation when the forest land ends and where the agricultural lands began.
By 2019, it was clear to us, from a philosophical standpoint, and also a rational standpoint, that climate change and / environment was going to be the problem of the decade and upcoming decade. Because in the last 5 years, the world has accelerated further towards destruction, even more destruction. EBTL has been, it's like 4-5 years. That piece of land has found new life. That is beautiful in that tiny little pocket, like one speck on the globe. Varun and team have been doing a great job.
When you approach a restoration project, you tend to look at it from a very animal plants perspective. Let's plant the right trees. Let's hope for the right animals to come in. What we often tend to forget is that we are one of those animals who definitely has the biggest impact on the forest. We are doing this restoration because we have degraded this forest. None of the other animals have contributed to the degradation. So often we overlook the purpose and the role we play in an ecosystem. Keeping that in mind, it's also important to then decide how do we work with the community. Because one of the driving factors for degradation here is that the land being sold to people who don't have a belonging to this land, People from other cities coming, buying it, then looking at the land for just commercial use. Let's grow fruits here, let's grow this, without any sort of emotional connect to the actual forest. Now that's very different from the community that grows up here. They absorb all the positivity and the negativity from the forest.
என் பேர் ராஜப்பா. நாங்கள் சின்ன தமன்றப்பள்ளியிருந்து இருக்கிறோம். அங்கேருந்து இங்கே வரோம். EBTL வந்து பின்னாடி இங்கே வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணுறோம். இங்கே ஒர்க் பண்ண பின்னாடி எல்லா ஒர்க்லேயும் மெயின்டெனன்ஸ் பண்ணுறது, கிச்சன் பார்க்குறது, ராகிக்கான சந்தைக்கு போகிறதுக்கு ஐட்டம்ஸ் ரெடி பண்ணுறது, என்னென்ன பண்ணணும், எது எடுத்துகிட்டு போனால் என்ன சேல்ஸ் ஆகும், அன்றைக்கி ஒன்று ஒன்றா பார்த்து செஞ்சு எடுத்துன்னு போயிட்டு இருக்கோம். அதில் இல்லாமல் எங்கள் கூட வச்சு 4-5 பேர் ஒர்க் பண்ணி சேர்த்து ஒர்க் பண்ணி செய்கிறோம். EBTL வந்து 4 வருஷம் ஆகுது. அந்த ஃபீலிங் எதுவும் இல்லை சார், நல்லா தான் இருக்குது. இங்கே வந்து அந்த டென்ஷன் இல்லை, ஃப்ரீயாக போயிட்டு இருக்குது. இது செய்யணுன்னா செஞ்சிடலான்றது ஒரு முயற்சி இருக்குது, செய்யலான்றது ஒரு ஆசை இருக்குது. இது பண்ணுறது நல்லது தான் நம்மளுக்கு தெரியுது. இப்போ நம்ம காடு பண்ணுறோம், காடு பண்ண நம்மளுக்கு மரம் இருந்தால் தான் சார் மழை வரும், காற்று வரும். இது பண்ணுறது நல்லதான்னு எனக்கு தெரியுது.
Forest is not just tree. Unimaginably complex ecosystem. One day to completely wipe out an acre of forest, 50 years to grow something that's probably close.
So basically when you take a tree out and when you put a non-native tree and the animals around it, if it doesn't know that it is food or if they haven't evolved together, there is good chance that that sort of network is broken. It's not just competition, it's also cooperation. So a simple tulsi plant feeding a honey bee, now you take out that plant and you put something else, that's probably not what the insect wants. That link is broken there. This is what a monoculture does, right? It's few animals benefiting from large-scale plantations. Not that all non-natives are bad. So many of our trees are naturalized. But given the crisis that we are in, it's better to stay safe. Plant a tree that you know is from this region, has enough genetic memory to know how to behave here. And that's what we would raise in the nurseries. The seeds were collected from that specific composition of trees and then raised in the nursery.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ನೀಲಮ್ಮ. ಕಿಚನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೆ 10 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ, ಇವಾಗ 3 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ನರ್ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀನಿ. EBTL ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಕಳೆ ಕೀಳೋದು, ಗಿಡ ಮಾರಿಸೋದು, ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರು ಹಾಕೋದು, ನಾರು ಹಾಕೋದು, ಏನನ್ನ ಬೀಜ ತಗೊಂಬಂದು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಬೀಜ ಹಾಕೋದು, ಕವರ್ ತುಂಬೋದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫುಲ್ಲ ಗಿಡ ಇಕ್ಕಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದು ಏನನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದು ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನರ್ಸರಿ ಅಂತ. ಈ ಥರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಮಣ್ಣು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ಕೈ ಗುಣನೂ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಣ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅದ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಕೊಡೋದಂದರೆ ನರ್ಸರಿ. ರಾಗಿ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೋದು. ಕಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆರಾಮು. ಮಳೆ ಅದು ಇದು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೂ ಆರಾಮು. ಯಾರು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ? ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಿಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊಡೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾರು ನೆಲ್ಲು ಭತ್ತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾರೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾರೆ ಹೇಳಿ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಕೆಲಸ. ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಗಾಳಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿದೆ ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಂತೋಷ ಇರ್ತದೆ.
So when we started working on the land, when we decided, okay, how do we grow a forest? There are a lot of ways to do it. The most sold idea is plant trees, that's the first thing that comes to mind. But then when you observe land more, go around these hills, go around parts of Eastern Ghats and anywhere else, you see it's not just the trees that make a good forest. There are grasslands and all of that. So what we realized, what was the first learning, is that there is no formula for this. We really have to work in certain contexts, and a lot of times it becomes an experiment. Nobody's going to guarantee, hey, you do this and the forest is going to come back. So what we worked on is different strategies. So if you walk towards the northern part of the land, you see there's a lot of water being caught. We've created a wetland. We've planted around it. We've focused more on grasses. We've left alone patches where we're not doing anything. We're only protecting it from the degrading factors, which are like the cows and goats coming in and grazing and forest fires. So we're only reducing the degradational parts. There are other parts where we've done planting with saplings that are raised in the nursery. So if you look at it overall, a lot of things are experiments, and what we really are hoping is that at some point in the future, there is enough data from this project, because we are also taking data, we are doing monitoring, evaluation, is that anybody who wants to understand how does a restoration project work in the Eastern Ghats, there is some kind of a case study. Over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of research fellows and researchers coming here. So we've had herpetologists come and stay here. We had a biodiversity survey that was done by a group of researchers. We had researchers from, like people studying grasses coming and seeing the biodiversity of grasses here. So that kind of momentum has been picking up for this to be a good place to execute your studies. Maybe if a new person comes there, they would think, oh, there's no canopy, there's not much changed here. But when you've actually lived there and when you've actually walked there every day, you see these tiny changes there. You see snakes that we didn't first see there, using that land, using that water. When we put camera traps out there, we see herds of elephants have come there. Wild boars have come there and, like in large numbers, spotted deers. You see spotted deer scat everywhere. You know that things are changing.
Generally, for things where there isn't time, everybody scrambles when everything goes wrong. And then people will look around for models. Because of the work we do as Rainmatter Foundation, over the last few years, we built a very close-knit community partner network across India. And we work very closely with many of these orgs, small and big. We end up working and collaborating with government departments. So because that network exists, there's the goodwill, there's a reasonably good and deep understanding of how conservation should be done, the players in conservation, etc.
A lot of houses still don't have electricity and they has these asbestos sheet. When people found employment here and the working conditions were also quite nice with the timings and equal pay for men and women and all that, there's a lot of gratitude and loyalty that built up in the village. So when the restoration required less labor, I started thinking about how do we employ more people and not just like menial labor. You need to give them some meaningful work where they also see there is progress, there is growth. They need to be shown how they can benefit. Just preaching values or showing them values doesn't work. They need to be beneficiaries of adopting those value systems. So that is why we started something called the Farmers Collective. The main vision is that the village is sort of integrated with the project. So we are now giving this space and hiring more people from the village to work on this land, and they can bring in their knowledge.
பண்ணுறதுக்கும் ஒரு ஆசை இருக்கும், இது பண்ணாமா, இது பண்ணால் ஒரு 10 ரூபா சம்பாதிக்கலாமா, பண்ணு பின்னாடி சக்ஸஸ் ஆச்சு. சப்போர்ட்டிங் தான் நீங்கள் இருந்தீங்களே, அதனால் அந்த சப்போர்ட்டிங்கில் பண்ணு பார்க்கலான்ற ஒரு தைரியத்தில் பண்ணணும். முயற்சி பண்ணி பார்க்கணும். நம்மளால் இன்னும் 4 பேர் பொழைக்கணும். நம்ம கற்றுக் கொடுத்த 4 பேர் அவங்க பொழைப்பாங்க இல்லையா? இப்போ நாம் இப்போ செய்கிறோம், சரி திடீர்னு நம்மளால் முடியல, சரி நம்மளே பார்த்து 4 பேர் பண்ணுவாங்க இல்லையா? நம்ம கையில் ஆவாது கஷ்டத்தும் பண்ணல, நம்மளால் முடிவு தானே செய்ய போகிறோம். இதுக்கு மேலே நம்மளால் 4 பேர் கற்றுக்கிட்டோம்னு அவங்க 4 பேர் கற்றுக்கிட்டோம் பண்ணிட்டுங்க.
So ever since I started working here, I've observed that a lot of kids, mostly these are kids of the shepherds or the laborers who work here, a lot of them skip school, because their parents ask them to take care of the animals. And they've started like hanging out with me because I spend a lot of time outdoor and they see me drawing and bird watching and all of that. And it organically became like a group of kids that hang out here. And since then it has always struck me that I probably won't see this forest, like this project that we are starting off, growing a forest. It takes a long time for these trees to grow. So I probably would not see the canopies of these trees, but it would be these kids who are actually seeing it. So I hope that they know where it began, they know how this land was. Those memories are there when they get older and see the forest get where it is in future, and also see the effort that has gone into it.
I truly believe that what goes around comes around. We want to earn money because we are a business, and the business is only as successful as the revenues and profits, etc. But what do we do with the profits is actually important too. And one of the allocation was, in essence, most of it is going to go back, but some portion of it we will allocate it towards rewilding, and we have supported the first project. My dad, he has been like that from when I was a kid. Everyone he's trying to help, thinking that eventually something good will happen back to him.
This is an experiment. No individual, no organization, not even a group of people can really do rewilding as an idea or biodiversity conservation at the scale at which it has to really happen in India. So the least you could do is try and set an example and create a playbook out of it that whoever else is willing to or interested in replicating replicates.
Whenever there's climate change, the issues with climate change get to a point, at that junction, you will have people asking questions of businesses. So what did you do for this? Because the change can't be only through one person. Like, it has to be an ecosystem. Everyone has to jump in, whoever has got the resources to be able to do it.